Welcome into the live stream here from McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. I'm Neal. That's Tyler.
What it is, sir.
How are you?
Doing good, man. How are you?
I'm good. Good. It's Monday afternoon.
In today a holiday.
February the 10th, huh?
In today a holiday. Is today a holiday?
No, it's next Monday. Next Monday's President's Day. I was trying to think. Next Monday is a holiday.
Okay.
There are some people that think today should be like National Hangover Day.
It should be. They should have an award for today. But they kind of fixed that when they bumped the kickoff up to 5:30. They kind of stuck it there. So
yeah,
they used to do that 7 o'clock kick.
It was too late. Yeah.
You
can do like me. I was in bed and asleep third quarter. I was gone.
I wasn't. I was loving every second of it.
Yeah.
Me and my Eagles money line play.
I'll be interested to listen to you and AJ talk Super Bowl here in a minute because your boy did not see much. It just never got me into it. And then by the time I noticed it was a blowout, and I was like, eh. And then Laura's like, we gotta wait for the halftime show. Non-truer words have never been expressed. Did that, and so yeah. Flip side of all that, I was like, yeah, I'm not staying up for the sake of staying up.
Yeah, no, I did. So I was going to smoke some meat. I did not because the temperature thing inside my Traeger has gone wacky a little bit. So I got, and so I went all over town looking for a replacement part. This replacement part's like $10.
Yeah.
Okay. No dice. So I had to order it. So ended up doing a little chili.
Yeah, Carson and I smoked a whole bunch of wings because he was going to a party. I think your son was there, and we smoked a whole bunch of wings, and then I smoked some for Laura and me, and then we just never really turned to football. Okay. Watched a lot of the pregame show.
Okay,
pregame show was on like at 1 o'clock, and I turned it on. It was not bad.
I watched golf, so that was my pregame show. Let's crank her up.
All right, here we go. Yeah, I know. Chad says, dang, MC, you're in a sports show. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't watch nearly as much sports as I used to. I watch, and the sports I watch are not, what's the word, simpatico with the sports that most people in this part of the country watch. I watch a lot of NBA. I watch a good bit of NBA.
You, all kidding aside, is you say you don't watch a lot of sports.
I don't, though. I don't watch nearly as much NFL and college football and college basketball as you guys. Not nearly as much. Now,
that is true.
Not nearly as much.
But you watch more than 99.9% of the average person.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
That's what I like.
Well, somebody on the pregame show made a really good point yesterday on Fox. They were like, hey, here's who Patrick Mahomes is. And I don't know who it was. Whoever it was exactly right. It's like, this is the one day a year that a lot of people watch professional football that they don't ever watch it.
Yeah.
And so it was like, it sounds crazy, but this is who Patrick Mahomes is. They were like doing this thing, and I was like, that is absolutely exactly right. I think it's one of the reasons, we'll get into it in a minute, the halftime show fell flat for a lot of people who didn't know, like Carson was explaining to me, my son, who's 18, that there's this feud between him and Drake. And I was like,
let's get AJ to explain.
I was like, number one, I don't know who Drake is. And number two, someone's got to walk me through the feud. And then maybe I would have heard it and been like, oh.
I think AJ, was jamming to it. So
I bet he was.
He's over there just cussing me right now. But we'll be good. Let's crank her up.
All right. Welcome into episode 259 of McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. I'm Neal McCready. That is Tyler Siskey here on this Monday, February the 10th. AJ McCarron will join us momentarily. He and Tyler will break down Super Bowl 59. Eagles blow out the Chiefs in New Orleans. We'll talk some other stuff as well, some college basketball towards the end of the show, a show that is brought to you each and every episode by our friends at Rain Total Body Fuel, 300 milligrams of natural caffeine. BCAA's electrolytes, zero sugar. It's got what you need to push the limits and achieve your goals. Check them out on Instagram at Rain Body Fuel to learn more.
Scoops, I'm rocking with again. Like I can't get away from this. I'm rocking with the tropical, Rainstorm Tropical. It's on point. I love it. I mean, it's my jam right now. But Scoops, the Cooper Chevrolet chat is already bumping, and right now you can take advantage of an amazing GX incentive. Get one from around 20. Get a brand new 2025 Buick Encore GX incentive. Right now, you can get the Buick Encore from around $20,000 with Buick's $3,000 Conquest rebate if you own / or lease a 2011 plus non-GM vehicle. No trade-in required. Details, make sure you call our good friends at Cooper Chevrolet, area code 256-236-4481 for more details. They got over 15 in stock right now. That's the 2025 Buick Encore GX. Let's ride. It is Cooper Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, Hyundai right there in the great city. Some people say the greatest city ever, Anniston, Alabama. Scoops are also brought to you by good friends, Brandon, and all the people over at PTG Outdoors. They are a Camus boats dealer. They have both fresh and saltwater boats. They sell and service Mercury outboards. They do custom marine and electronic installations with Garmin, Humminbird, and Low Ranch products. You can get all of your fishing needs and custom golf cart retrofits. They replace all of the batteries with a single lithium battery. Located right there in Grenada, Mississippi. You can call them at 662-459-9311. Or more importantly, Valentine's Day is coming up this week. And A.J. McCarron has already purchased a bunch of brand new lures and jigs for Catherine for Valentine's Day from PTGOutdoors.com. Make sure you go to PTGOutdoors.com and get something for your favorite someone. We're also brought to you by The Official. That's right. The Official RV dealer of the McCready Siskey Show. County Line Campers, located right there off I-10 exit 38 in Gulfport, Mississippi. You can go right now. It's a new year. You can look for their pre-loved motorhomes, their fifth wheels, their travel trailers, all at County Line Campers right there in Gulfport, Mississippi. Save up to 48% on remaining new 2024 models, including new RVs for under $199 a month. Do you need your camper serviced? Call our good friends at County Line Campers and ask them about their Happy Camper Club, and you can receive discounts on all your maintenance needs. Visit countylinecampers.com to see all of our deals, and for a limited time, receive a free backup camera with any RV purchase. When you think about camping, think about County Line Campers. Let's go. How about that?
How about that?
How about that, AJ?
How about that?
How about that? Well, Scoops, yesterday, by the way, I did not get to read your pick. Who did you end up picking for the Super Bowl?
I went Chiefs.
I
told you why, and it turned out to be right. I mean, I went with Chiefs because it was going to be a lot easier to live with.
Did anybody pick the Eagles?
Chase did.
Oh, so Chase won.
He did. And Greg beat Caroline because he went Eagles too. She went Chiefs. Both competitions came down to the final game, which is good.
Yeah,
good for the
competition.
Good for the drama.
Good for the drama.
It was going to be on a game where I had no feel for it at all. It was just going to be easier to live with. I told you, and I maintain this. It was going to be a lot easier to go, well, how about that? How about those? How about the Eagles? Than it was going to be like, son of a bitch. I bet against Patrick Mahomes and he did it again. I just didn't want to go there. So I went with the loss that would be easier to absorb.
To swallow. Well, the Eagles, AJ, in case you missed the Super Bowl yesterday, the Eagles defeated the Kansas City Chiefs 40-22 with 2 late touchdowns to make it look semi-respectable. Not really. AJ and I texted back and forth here in the game. Look, we can shake this any way we want to. The front four, and somebody on TV said the Eagles did not blitz the entire game. I call bullshit on that because I saw one in the second half. But for the most part, still, the Eagles got pressure with their front four. Mahomes started getting pressured, started seeing ghosts, and started making uncharacteristic mistakes. They started pressing. And I'll let AJ talk about what we talked about a little bit yesterday about game plan and stuff like that. But for me, I thought that the front four completely dominated. They were pushing the pocket. They were collapsing the pocket pretty much every possible way. And they were benefited, which I think was AJ's going to get into. They were kind of benefited because Kansas City, from a game plan standpoint, like AJ, this is what he texted me. He's going to talk about it. But they got away. They did an RPO the first play of the game. Free completion. They got away from quick game. They turned everything to a drop back. I think they ran 5 running plays the entire game. And particularly when you're playing somebody like that, if they know what you're doing from a pass standpoint, I mean, they were just teeing off. I mean, every play was 3rd and long. It's what it felt like. AJ.
Yeah, I mean, they had one run play. The first 24 plays were 23 passes. Yeah, you had one run in the first 24 plays. They had so much success early in against Buffalo of the RPO game, and if you're able to establish the RPO game, it opens up everything else, which I'm still blown away. That's the worst game plan I've seen from Andy Reid in a decade. I've never seen a game plan like that from him. I don't know what was going through their process and their mind during this whole build up the last 2 weeks of, how we can take advantage of them. I thought for sure they came out, hit, I think, Juju or Hollywood on the first play of the game for a successful RPO for about 9 yards, 9.5. And they never went back to it. And listen, they've had offensive, struggles from an O-line standpoint of not being healthy and having to move a guard to play left tackle and everything. But for Philly to get that much push, only rushing 4 for 99% of the game, and it wasn't like Philly was playing a ton of man. I mean, they were playing zone. Yeah. And if there's too high zone, and if you can't run the ball versus too high zone in the NFL, brother, you're done.
They never even tried to establish it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's why. That's what pisses me off about the game plan is, if you're not going to try to run the ball and establish the run with Kareem Hunt, Pacheco, why not make it seem like you're going to run? So let the RPO game be your substitute for the run game. And that's usually what great offenses do if they can't run the ball well, if they're worried about not being able to run the ball. And if somebody's playing zone, there's a ton of windows in there to have the RPO hitches, the little stick routes, pop passes. There's a ton of area, and I was just blown away. I thought at least at halftime they'd make some adjustments. They came out with the same mindset. There really was no adjustments whatsoever. You usually never see that from an Andy Reid offense.
Well, they ran the ball.
I thought the defense played great.
They ran the ball in the first play of the second half, 7 yards. Never went back to it.
Yeah. Yeah, and they handed it off to Pacheco on an outside zone on that. I thought the defense played really well. I said I would feel comfortable if Kansas City was able to stop the run. Hell, and leading up to that game, I didn't realize they didn't have this whole season, I believe, somebody could correct me if I'm wrong, but a rusher over 90 yards. They haven't given up one rusher over 90 yards the entire season. I thought
good job with that.
Yeah, I thought if they did that, if they controlled Saquon, that would play into their hand heavily. I thought McDuffie struggled on defense to play A.J. Brown one-on-one. Just too undersized, not strong enough. Just really couldn't make any plays. They were getting toasted at the line. It was just an overall just bad game. I think, as a quarterback, and me and you were talking about this, but when you start getting hit early or you feel like the pocket's collapsing quick, you start to feel ghost. And it's not really seeing ghost, you start to feel ghost. And by that, I mean, even if you think you have enough time, it feels like you don't. And then you start moving into in the pocket to places that you shouldn't be moving to. And you're not staying still and staying with the structure of the pocket. You start to step up too much. You start to try to find alleys too much rather than just trusting it. And that's that's one of the toughest things about the quarterback position. And it's a ton of trust and faith in your other guys, the 5 guys up front, held the running back, the tight end to chip, help in protection. Like it's a ton of trust. And when you're getting hit that much, it's hard because I thought, yes, there was pressure on Pat. But I also thought he created a lot of pressure as the game went on himself by trying to move too much rather than trusting it, staying in the pocket, and then going through his reads. I thought they got away from the checkdowns as well.
I don't know what the final numbers were, but I know he got hit 9 of the first 15 times he dropped back. And that's a lot, dude. I mean, that's
yeah, I mean, by big people.
Yeah.
I mean, you feel that, right? I mean, I'm assuming that all the pads in the world don't stop you from feeling a 6'6", 315-pound person who hits you hard.
No, he got hit. And look, I thought Kansas City from a defensive standpoint, I know the McDuffie thing, but I actually thought defensively, even though what the score was, they played okay. You got to remember they had a pick 6, and then they threw a pick at the 15. Okay, and then they had something else. There
was 14 points off of offensive turnovers.
Yeah, so and then when you look at, for me, from a defensive standpoint, there was one thing that hurt them. One thing that really hurt them that you could see the frustration on the faces is Jalen really ran the ball and used his feet effectively. And on all those drives, he had big plays and big conversions on whatever, had explosive runs on pass plays. And then, they snuck in a quarterback looks like a quarterback draw, but it was basically what it was, quarterback draw on one of them, got 9, but he had a lot of big plays extending on just about every scoring drive. He had a big play with his feet, and, that was frustrating because they had everybody covered. They had from a coverage perspective, let's take away the shot play from Devontae when they went max protect and went the NCAA route post or the deep over, but to hit Devontae for the touchdown. But
that was late in the game, and they were playing
take that
for the run.
So they hit Goddard for an explosive play where they had a D lineman
they dropped,
and he dropped, and he picked up. They doubled AJ on, somebody busted.
It looked like the middle field safety. They were trying to pass it off. He was trying to pass it off to the middle field safety, and the middle field safety's got a cut because everybody else was playing man. But it was like they were on a responsibility. Hey, deep over right here. We're passing it off. I'm gonna fall off onto AJ because they were playing AJ man.
Yeah, on AJ and left Goddard uncovered.
Yeah,
so they hit that one, and then you had what I called the pass interference call on AJ early in the game. That wasn't pass interference, but then I also would have let the roughing penalty go the next drive. I think that was a makeup call.
Kansas City had two really bad calls against him. The unnecessary roughness on that one where he was going to make a play on, I think it was McDuffie, on the ball that was overthrown. Yeah. And then the other one was on 32 on the screen to Saquon.
Yeah,
it wasn't even a hard hit. That was a bullshit call too.
Yeah, it was almost like the officials were NFL was trying to bury the narrative. But I was glad that they were trying to bury the narrative because I took the Eagles money line. But like, I'm with you. I think they started. It felt like they started pressing really after when the pick 6 happened and made it 14-0. It was pressed from then on. They went. And you got to give it a little bit to Kansas City's defense. I figured they would wear down in the running game as long as they were on the field. They didn't. Chris Jones got dinged up twice, once on his knee, once on his neck on the tush push.
Got to think that might be the end for him.
Chris Jones?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no.
Oh, you hadn't heard that?
You think Chris Jones is done?
That he's thinking of retiring is what I've heard.
Really?
Yeah.
I have not heard that. That would be surprising.
He just got a new contract.
Yeah, he just got a big deal.
Just telling you what I heard.
Now, I think Captain Pfizer's is thinking about shutting it down.
Who?
Captain Pfizer.
Oh, Trav. Dude, Trav looked awful.
I was
teeing that one up for you there.
I was running down the list.
Travis looked slow. He looked heavy last night. Like, he looked like life had been with Taylor Swift a little too much recently. Like, Man, he looked like he was playing in slow motion. Like, he literally looked like – I've never seen him play like that. Like, the little pop routes, spots is what we call it. But, like, he was turning around in slow motion. I mean, hell, the basic across the middle, usually he catches that, and then he got hit late, and then, like, he acted like he just did not care. Like, he was out of it completely. Him sitting on the bench looking like he was completely out of it. No fire in him. That's the first time I had seen Patrick have, like, oh shit eyes. Like, his eyes were just big all night, and he had no answer. I mean, it was all around. That's one of the worst games. Like, if you lose, that's my issue. If you lose the Super Bowl, or you have a chance to three-peat, and you have all this hype behind your team's actually played well throughout the year, like bouncing back from tough games, or pulling some big wins out in tough, situations. Like, I just, man, you don't want to go out that way. That's the type of loss that splits the team up, and you're not able to get these free agent guys that you've been able to get in the past because people want to come play for Kansas City and stuff like that.
I mean, he's 35. He'll be 36 next October. Okay, so he's 35, and I mean, look, he's dating Taylor Swift. You can insert all the jokes you want to insert, but he's still dating probably the most popular artist on the planet. And then on top of that, like with his podcast, he can make more money doing that than he can playing football right now.
Yeah, I mean, even the Taylor Swift stuff aside, 35 years old for an NFL tight end is
just getting there.
You're beginning to get a little long in the tooth.
Tread on the tires.
I mean, the guy's had a hell of a career.
He's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I mean, he's had an amazing career. All the Swift stuff completely aside, he's had a great career. He's got 4 titles?
3
titles. He's been Hall of Fame. I mean, not Hall of Fame. All Pro countless times. I mean, yeah, he's had an amazing career. It kind of father time comes for everybody now.
It does.
He gets everybody. I mean, so I said this on our morning show. I'll repeat it because I think it's true. AJ, I think you'll agree with this. It's the one thing I've always noticed about sports, right? Is if you watch a team over the course of a season, any season, pick your sport, football, basketball, baseball, soccer, whatever, hockey, whatever their little weakness is, you see it over the course of a season. I mentioned this with Carson's soccer team. All year it was kind of like, man, that back line's kind of shaky sometimes, It's the one thing you kind of worry about. Wish we could shore that up. Wish we could figure out how to get just a little better back there. With Kansas City, it was always, man, I just don't know about that offensive front. I just don't know. And then they'd kind of work through it. They'd get through it, but you never watched it and went, yeah, they solved that problem. And sure enough, in whatever ultimate moment in a season, like for a basketball team, it might be something simple like free throw shooting. It might be something like inbounds plays. It might just be something little that, man, they just not good at that. You either do one of two things. It either is the Achilles heel that ends you and stops you from getting the trophy, or you have this breakthrough performance in the big moment, like a basketball team that doesn't shoot the free throw very well. In a playoff, in a tournament game, they go 22 for 23. And you're like, son of a bitch, they did it today. And that's the reason they won, right? And I thought you saw that with both teams yesterday. You had the Chiefs, offensive line was a problem. And for Philadelphia, there was always this thing about when it really matters, can Jalen Hurts make the big play? And yesterday he did. So he broke through, and the O-line thing was a problem for KC.
And I don't know, I'll say this about Jalen Hurts too. I don't know if the early playoffs was about, he was coming off a concussion and all that. He'd missed like 4 weeks, the last 4 weeks, I think, with concussion, and then had the bye week, or didn't have the bye week, played in the first round against the Packers. He played his ass off in the NFC Championship game and played his ass off, obviously won MVP, but played really well last night as well. And, he carried the team, but I don't know. My deal with Kansas City has been, and I said this Thursday on a show, is like, Kansas City had flirted with the disaster all year long. Like, they had so many losses. Like I told you, that montage of their record was great and they deserved it in their first and all that pick. But they had flirted with disaster the ball had bounced their way. The 50-50 stuff had bounced their way the entire year. And it was like last night in that game, it all went back. It all evened out because anything that could have gone their way went the other way last night. Nothing went in their favor last night. Nothing. So everything that it kind of
it's a great point. Yeah, it's a great point that you watch a team and you're like, on one hand, they keep finding a way to overcome these close calls. They keep finding a way to win, and there's something to be said for, man, these guys just win. But you would always go, but on the other hand, what happens when they run into a team who might be better than them? Are they going to be able to rise to the occasion? Are they going to be – and then sure enough, it just kind of happened. And it also shows you, and you guys both know this, when you're on top, it's really, 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 really hard to stay there.
It's the hardest thing in sports. And I'll say this, and AJ's heard this 1,000 times from Coach Saban. He said this ad nauseum. It's easy getting to the top. That's the easy part, is getting to the top. The hard part is staying there. You know, AJ was on a run at Alabama to where every single week, it didn't matter. You know, it was pretty cool because you'd go to somewhere like Kentucky. They haven't had a sellout in freaking 4 years. And then you go to Kentucky, that thing's sold out. Like, you're getting somebody's best shot every single week.
Yeah.
But to Scoop's point, that, you know, about the O-line, that's the part that I can't wrap my brain around. And that's the part that has me just questioning Coach Reed a little bit. It's like, all right, if y'all had to go into that game knowing Carter, Graham, Sweat, like, you were going to have some issues with their front. You were just hoping if they blitzed, how are you going to handle it? Like,
and there was nothing.
But there was no game plan to get the ball out quick.
Yeah, that was the thing.
Like,
everything was just a standing target. They didn't do anything to neutralize the front. Like, AJ knows, but like when you're outmanned up front. So I mean, anywhere I've ever been, when we were at St. Paul's all the way back in the day in high school, we'd play – AJ's going to laugh. We'd play, you know, Vigers, the Williamsons, the Blunts, the teams that were out-athleted us up front. We're going to screen and counter it's all eye candy. We're screening, getting the ball out. We're getting them – we're going to confuse them as many ways as we can to get them out, you know, lose their gap integrity, whatever we got to do. And same thing when I was here at Ole Miss. And I love them. Like I said, I love them to death. Every one of them, they were great. I mean, competitive, tough sons of bitches. But we were terrible up front when you compare to who we played. But we ran for 220 yards a game. And in a weird, like when we ran in the running game to neutralize the front, we would run a ton of suckers and things like that to where, hey, we're running an outside zone to the left. We're reading the one defensive end. If he squeezes, we're handing the ball on the perimeter, and you're getting rushing yards, but guess what? Not one person up front. All they have to do is get out of the way. I mean,
well, there was no trying to get on the edge, which when you're playing a big defensive line, that's the part. Like, you got two of the fastest guys in the league in Brown and Worthy, and there was no jet sweeps. Pacheco getting on the edge, like, they ran one outside zone and it went for 8 yards on the first play of the second half. They didn't get back to it. Like, why are we trying or some type of misdirection? The only runs we had were Kareem Hunt just running dead ass up the middle, inside zones, and then we're running right into Carter. And it's like, what the hell are we doing? Like, why are we not taking advantage of our strengths? Our strengths are speed, being able to play tricks with the defense's eyes, like, especially if they're going to play zone, because they're more worried about us getting over the top. Okay, well, let's nickel and dime them down the field. Like, that's the part that makes me concerned for their offense, is because when you look at the totality of the whole season for their offense, a lot of it has been big explosive plays. And when a defense doesn't allow you to have big explosive plays, can you matriculate the ball down the field? Like, can you sustain drives and finish that way? And it showed last night, like, if you take away the deep threat for them and make them sustain drives, like, they struggled. But that's literally I've
like
never
that for
seen a
2
game
years.
plan like that from Andy Reid.
Yeah, it's been like that for 2 years. I mean, with him, I tell like we've talked about it ad nauseum through the season, but their offense has been different the last 2 seasons than it was. Even though they won it last year, it wasn't the same offense as what it was when Tyreek was there and they were freaking shitting and getting the whole time. And a lot of that had to do with running game and things like that. But it is what it is. All right, AJ.
I mean, but the financial part of the National Football League, sometimes it makes you, especially as your team gets older and more successful, and it makes you make some difficult decisions. And sometimes those difficult decisions end up, I mean, the league's designed for that, right?
Yes.
It's designed for parity. And so as you age and as guys get more and more money and earn that more other contract,
You can't pay everybody.
and maybe you kind of have a little, and this isn't a criticism at all, maybe you have a little bit of a sentimentality because, I mean, these guys have been to parades here, right? And, you know, the fans love them, and the fans have bought their jerseys and stuff, and maybe you just here and there on the edges make decisions that in hindsight weren't calculated enough, weren't cold-blooded enough, were a little sentimental, and that gets you. There's a reason nobody's winning 3 in a row, and we talked about this. It's just freaking hard.
Yeah, it's been since pre-Super Bowl. But, you know, just my mentality is watching them the last 2 years. It used to be like not like 2 years ago. It was like you were surprised when they punted. You know, it's like, holy shit, somebody made them punt. And now it's just the opposite. You're like, I mean, I don't know. It is what it is.
Well, you can't be successful as an offense if you don't have success on first down. If you're behind the sticks the whole time, in the NFL, you will not have success if you are not successful on first down.
And that's why it's
fucking impossible.
And when you drop back the whole game and you don't run the football, you're gonna put yourself behind. You can't not put yourself behind the chains by playing a drop back and no run game. You can't do it.
The odds aren't in your favor.
No. All right, AJ. I know your favorite part of the game was the halftime show with Kendrick Lamar. I know that's something that you really loved. You got any like opinion on that? What was your take on the halftime show? Because I know you loved it. You were jamming. I saw you. You know, you sent me that long video of you dancing. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I thought it was awful. Like, you know, and I've listened to Kendrick Lamar, but it was hard to understand what the hell he was saying. I understand the whole reason they did it, and from what I read is Jay-Z has an opinion on who gets picked on the halftime show. So Jay-Z's has some connection. I don't know if the same label with Kendrick Lamar and that whole Drake beef. And then, you know, Not Like Us has been a hit. Won a ton of awards this year. I think it won a ton of, but it was weird. And having Samuel L. Jackson there too, that was fucking weird. In the outfit he was dressed up as, like, the whole fucking thing was weird.
There, she was dancing.
I feel bad because, like, it's in New Orleans. Like, if there's one person that everybody knows and loves, if you're going to go to the rap side of things, like, and he's from there, why not have Lil Wayne do the halftime show? He's from New Orleans. Everybody, like, grandmothers know some of his songs. Like, he's made every type of music there is. Let him do the halftime show. Like, at least people.
I think they should run it back with Snoop and Eminem. That was fun.
Well, it's 2 idiots there too. But dude, I thought it was awful. I didn't understand a fucking word until the end. So
we missed this part because it did not make the TV broadcast, but it was on the news this morning. We missed the best part of the halftime show.
The Pakistan, Palestine thing.
The best part of the halftime show was there was a dancer, one of the 400 people that decided they were going to protest instead in the middle of dancing. And so they had a Palestinian flag that had Sudan and Gaza written on it, and they were on the car, and it did not make the TV production, but they were on the car.
I've seen the video.
You've seen the video?
That dude made a hell of a run. I mean, he escaped for quite some time, made a big jump off one stage down to another.
Good.
Guy was. He was determined to. He
avoided more tacklers than the Kansas City offense.
He did. He evaded he evaded pursuit for longer than people realized.
But great pocket presence. I think it's a guy that they could bring in and help with Patrick Mahomes and his pocket awareness and pocket presence for this, upcoming season. But he gets arrested in the middle of the performance.
Yeah.
One of the 400 dancers, like you got I get it. You got to have 400 people there, but there's got to be some kind of better screening process than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know how he got the flag in. I guess he got it
they said it was underneath
inside his clothing
inside
or something.
his clothes, yeah. So that was the best part. I wish we could have seen that.
He did a jump, think John Wilkes Booth jumping out of the balcony. He did a jump that could have easily been oh, that's not going to go well.
Could have been no bueno.
Yeah, but credit to him for his evasion. He had some moves too, and he was not being exactly pursued by the Eagles. The people pursuing him were running out of breath fast. But no, my thing is this: it's okay. So I'm sitting there. It's just me and my wife. She's not a rap person at all. I like some rap.
I thought Laura was down with Wu-Tang Clan.
Laura likes a lot of she likes country. She likes a lot of classic rock, alternative rock. She listens to what's it called, the Spectrum on XM radio. And I don't listen to much music at all, at all. I listen to a lot of podcasts if I'm out walking. If I'm running, I've gotten where I run to those guided Peloton runs.
Okay.
And I'm at the mercy of whatever they play, and I'm not paying attention, right? I'm just running. And so I don't know. I didn't know. My point was I didn't know about any kind of a feud. I didn't understand the backstory. It's one of those things where I think if you're going to, and look, he's obviously won a ton of awards, so he's got a huge audience. I'm not saying he doesn't. But for the percentage of the populace that doesn't know the story, y'all probably should have figured out a way to fill us in a little, because maybe we would have understood it.
That's my point.
What they're talking about, there's
right, but that's my point. Is you got people in our chat oh, Wayne would have been bad too. It doesn't matter. You had Kendrick Lamar from the West Coast. West Coast is a completely different type of rap music all in itself. It's nothing like the East Coast. You're down in the South. 99.9% of the people would have known Lil Wayne. I don't give a shit what you think. Oh, Lil Wayne hadn't come out with an album in 20 years. Who gives a fuck? We're talking about people that would have known him. Nobody, there's hardly 5% of people know fucking Kendrick Lamar.
Here's the thing.
AJ,
what is our fucking chat talking about?
AJ's more pissed off about the halftime show than he was about the Kansas City game plan.
We do this every year. The only halftime shows that have been you watch them and you're like, that was awesome. Prince was awesome.
Dude, I like Snoop and Eminem. I was in that one.
Who did Justin Timberlake do it with?
Janet Jackson.
That worked. I don't know. But
yeah, it was.
Janet Jackson was incredibly mainstream. That's what the Super Bowl needs to be.
Creed. We need to bring Creed back.
No. If you're really going to try to pull it off, and this may be where it's hard to do now because so many people only listen to their genre, that it might not be a lot of the most mainstream person in the building yesterday was cheering for the Chiefs. People would have okay, well, there's Taylor Swift. Everybody would have kind of gotten that. There's just a lot of people that I didn't know. I don't know anything about Drake and I didn't know who Kendrick Lamar was. I'll admit it. I didn't. I'm sorry. I didn't. Carson tells me I should have known. Carson says,
do you know who Lil Wayne is?
Yeah. Carson said, you should have known. And I'm like, he's like, he took this shot at Drake. And I was like, who's Drake? I didn't know. Look, I can't, everybody's on Twitter's like, are you 80? I'm like, well, I feel that way sometimes, but no. And the truth is, I'm more informed than a lot of people. So I was not the only person who was like, I'm not really sure I understand this feud thingy.
Brother,
have Post Malone. If you don't, but I'm saying, I was just saying Lil Wayne, if they're going the rap side of things, because everybody, it's in New Orleans, everybody in the world, their grandmother knows who Lil Wayne is. But you had Post Malone, Morgan Wallen, Luke Combs. There's
Post
a ton
Malone's
of people.
bled into country a little bit, so he's in multiple genres, right? So you've got some people like that. You just
AJ, you're disturbed by this, huh?
We got dumbasses in the chat, and I'm not meaning to talk bad about our chat, but dumbasses in the chat Lil Wayne ain't had an album. Like, you couldn't name the damn album Kendrick Lamar came out with, and they were fucking trying to push it before on every commercial before he had the halftime show. Like, who gives a shit?
I mean, I'm talking about somebody pissed in your cornflakes about this halftime show.
Oh, that's the same Drake from the Raptors? Oh, okay. I first time I put 2 and 2 together.
There you go. You should have known that one.
I probably should have.
You should have known that one.
But I don't listen. I just don't listen to much music at all. So I really don't.
Oh,
and great. I certainly don't like pay a lot of attention to it. Does that make sense?
It does. I just want to say, when I put this on the outline today, I had no idea AJ was going to be so passionate about the halftime show. I did not have that on my bingo card.
And see, young people are getting all worked up about this. Like, how do you not know who these people are? I'm just explaining this to you. It's kind of like when you, like I was telling you, when you do when you're doing the pregame show and for the Super Bowl, I do think you have to do a different kind of a broadcast. You got to understand, hey, we have an audience today. This is probably unimaginable to the three of us. But we have an audience today that they don't spend a minute of their Sundays in the fall watching or keeping up with the NFL. This is the one day a year that they're like, okay, yeah, we're going to go to the Super Bowl party, and it's going to be on, and they're not really going to be listening. But if they do listen, they're going to be the ones that are like, who is A.J. Brown? I don't know who that is. And so when you're telling these stories, they're like, you can't pretend that everybody's like, yeah, that everyone's got 6 fantasy teams and they're betting 8 games every NFL Sunday. And that's a problem that a lot of sports people have. And so I think it bled over into a musical decision here. It was like, okay, well, we're going to bring this guy out. And a lot of people are like, I don't know who that is. Or I don't understand what this beef is. And everybody's like, oh, he really took a shot at Drake. And I'm like, I wouldn't have known it was a shot at Drake if he pulled out a howitzer. I mean, I didn't know what it was. And so instead,
why not have
and what you had? Hold on,
mashup of a ton of work.
Yeah, and just real quick, what you had was the what's the sound? The quality of sound was bad in the arena. You really couldn't hear it on TV. I couldn't even tell what I couldn't understand a word anybody was saying. I was like, I'm done. It was good for me though, because I was like, you know what? I don't really feel like watching the third quarter. I'm checking out.
I just want to let the fans know that when I do this outline for the days, I always try to find something that will trigger AJ and Scoops, that will trigger them and get them fired up. This was not on my list that get y'all fired up today. I thought this was going to be a halftime show.
I tweeted that I thought it sucked, and people lost their minds. Like, what are you, 90? And I'm like, if that's what you think, I mean, okay.
All right. I'm going to put this in the old notes. Next year, talk about halftime show again. Talk about halftime show.
It made me miss Prince. That's all. Prince was awesome.
All right.
Did you like Prince, AJ? Were you a Prince guy?
Yeah.
I love Prince, man. Prince was phenomenal.
Prince is great. You gotta be non-American, not like Prince. I don't know if anybody doesn't like Prince. I mean, does anybody not like Prince?
But that's the point. That's what you should be trying to find, people that we've all kind of heard of and we all like generally. And maybe those people don't exist anymore.
Yeah. They should have done like with all this technology, they need to do a hologram halftime show with Tupac and Biggie. That would be, I'd be down for that. We'll get some 90s rap.
Did they do a hologram one year? Was it Michael Jackson?
They did do a Michael Jackson one year.
They got lambasted pretty good.
They got in trouble for that one. So There we go. All right. Taylor.
Lionel Richie's still around. He could play, right?
Yeah. He's up there. That dude doesn't age.
You thought people didn't know fucking Kendrick. You bring his ass up there.
Hey, Lionel Richie. Hey, leave my guy Lionel Richie alone. The guy's from Tuskegee, Alabama, by the way. You got to leave him alone. Lionel Richie.
I don't give a shit if he was my neighbor.
Hey, man, when I was in junior high school, he helped me out a few times. So we're all good.
All right, Taylor Moore, moving on. Taylor Moore, our guy, finishes T9 at the Waste Management. So texted him yesterday. He's got a dub coming. Barry Manilow. He jumps to 34th in the FedEx Cup standings. So shout out to Taylor. I think he's going to have a week off before he kicks back up. He's played like 4 or 5 weeks in a row. Has had 2 top 10s in the last 4 entries. Made 4 cuts in a row. He's going to have a nice little wire Wednesday. This Wednesday. Nice little one.
Yeah.
Little $250,000.
I was happy for our guy. That's awesome.
He and I'm going with Bob, my man Bob. I saw Bob in the chat. Bob sent out a tweet to the Golf Channel. My man Taylor is in contention. He's T2 He's T2 and can't get no damn airtime. He's in the next to last group, and they won't give him any damn airtime. Now, Friday he did. Or maybe it was Thursday. Thursday he got some because when he teed off, they started when he was tied for the lead on Friday or on Thursday. But my man's like T2 and not getting any freaking airtime. We got to get – what's up? Golf Channel. Where the hell we at? Can we get some Taylor Moore coverage? He's in the final group. Yesterday he's in the next to last group, what it was yesterday, and they're showing McIntyre. They're showing everybody that's playing with him. My man's up there sticking it to 6 feet and like on a birdie streak. They don't even show it. Hits a 40-foot freaking birdie putt. Don't even show it. They show one birdie putt, and that's it. He gets like one clip yesterday. Well, we got to give my man some coverage. But he is driving the ball. I figured out it's pretty good. He's hitting like 330 in the fairway. Pretty good odds there. He's driving the ball really well and putting the ball really well. So he's putting them together. So shout out to my good friend. And then Tiger was supposed – this happened like an hour ago or 2 hours ago. Tiger was supposed to make his return this weekend at the Genesis, and he has withdrawn. His mother passed last week. Tiger Woods' mother passed.
I did not know that.
Yeah, she passed last week. So
I did know that. Yeah, I saw that.
He withdrew from the tournament, and they canceled. They were supposed to have 3 TGL events today, and they canceled those, and they moved them all to next week. So they were supposed to have 3. That's the simulation golf. They're supposed to have 3 of those today, and they bumped them all to next week. They're going to have, I think, back-to-back days, Monday, Tuesday. But, yeah, I was looking forward to seeing him play again, but he is going to be without. All right, couple things here. Something we talked about a bunch on here. Now, wait, I'm going to hold this last basketball thing when we get to basketball. But something we've talked about a lot in the past, I think is coming to fruition. And I think a lot of fans, we've warned about it really probably since we've started this show. And it's coming to fruition probably this year and all of last year, but it's tough for fans to grasp in the current climate that we're in college athletics. And it's just at the bottom line is winning is very, very, very difficult. Okay. AJ, I know you've probably seen it. We've talked about it a bunch, but teams are having a tough time winning in all 3 major sports. They're having a tough time. And so teams that have had good programs and been competitive in their 3 major sports are now all of a sudden having a tough time with it. And I went back and looked in the SEC. Do you know how about this? And it is one SEC team. Do you know how many SEC teams have been in the top 25 in all 3 major sports in the last year?
So you're talking baseball, basketball,
football, baseball, basketball. How many teams have been in the top 25 in all 3 or finished the year in the top 25? What would be your guess?
Are we talking SEC or the whole?
Yeah, just SEC. Well, you can do all of them because it's the only Power 5 team too. There's only one Power 5 team that's been in the top 25 in all 3.
Oh, there's only one?
There's only one, and it is an SEC team.
No. I don't know. I was going to say Florida.
Tennessee. Tennessee is the only team that's had a top 25 baseball team, which they won it. They got a top 25 basketball team, went off current basketball, last year's baseball, and last year's football. The only team that's been top 25 in all 3. The only team. And there's been several that are 2 of 3. Several that are 2 or 3. I mean, a bunch. Some 0 or 3. But it would surprise you. But this the way you're having it. It's about money, right? And so it's about how they're allocating money. And I think you're seeing a big part of it, your big piece of it, you're seeing in the SEC in basketball, which Scoops and I talked about last week, was about how the reason the SEC's good in basketball is because they're spending money. And Scoops, what I said is there's only one Power 5 team, Power 4, I guess now, that's been in the top 25 in all 3 sports this past year.
Iowa.
No, Tennessee.
Oh.
But you look at teams that are having to, with the money and the way the collective and all that stuff's been going, we're in that collective. We're moving to rev share, but right now we're in the collective phase. And it's just how teams are allocating money. I mean, it's period in a discussion. It's how teams are allocating money. And you look at –
yeah, it's the reason the ACC's fallen off in basketball. There's no other reason. It's not because suddenly it's nothing to do with, whatever. ACC's always been a traditional this, a traditional – tradition doesn't matter. It's all about your ability to put together a roster, and there aren't many teams in the ACC that are financially competitive with teams in the Big 12, Big 10, and SEC, and therefore you see this fall off. It's why I think come tournament time, unless the committee decides to go all courageous, I think you're going to see a ton of SEC and Big 12 and Big 10 teams, and you're going to see fewer and fewer teams from the other kinds of leagues, and you're going to hear all the national people go, oh, this sucks. It's terrible for tradition and blah, blah, blah. And maybe they'll have a point, but it's only going to be because of money.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be. I mean, it's going to be because of money, and when the Sweet 16 rolls around and there's like 6 SEC and 5 Big 12 and 3 Big 10 and 1 outlier, everybody's going to be, what's going on here? It's going to be, well, duh. It's money. There's a reason the Dodgers are, according to the computers, have a 100% chance to make the playoffs. They have more money than everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, that's at the end of the day, and somebody said it must be, yeah, it's at the end of the season, end of the football season, end of baseball season, all that stuff. But like if you look at the SEC, most programs, not all, but most programs are competitive, like really competitive in 2 of the 3, right?
Yeah.
And it's just, but the only one that's competitive in all 3, like legitly competitive, was Tennessee this past year, and that's all a Power 5. And that's where you're spending money. And the reason that you look at the SEC is, why is the SEC like that? Because they've had more money to spend, right? And I think the Big Ten could say that, but Big Ten doesn't. They kind of lose their pop a little bit in baseball because of where they're located geographically. Oregon was actually really close.
Is Florida not? What's the time period on this?
Florida did not finish in the top 25 in football this past year.
Oh, you're saying this year?
Yeah, it was last year's baseball. This past year's haven't got the baseball season yet. Current basketball, last year's football, last year's baseball.
I thought we were talking about like in the past.
I'm just talking about 1 year, 1 calendar year. And so
didn't Florida win it with Chris Leak in football, and then won the national championship in basketball one year?
Yeah. Now that was before NIL, right? Before money being all that stuff, right? Or allegedly. But the point.
I'm sure Joe Kim Noah didn't get shit.
No.
Corey Brewer, nah.
Yeah, but the point is like it's just very difficult.
If they gave Al Horford anything,
nah. Shaker Jack said in the Kylan Hill lawsuit. What do y'all think? Thanks. He's sitting out, or he's part of the. He is part of the group that's opting out of the House settlement rev share thing. He's opting out. Doesn't agree. Is saying that there's no collective bargaining agreement.
He's right.
Yeah, he's 100% right. What will happen from it, I don't know. I think there's a group of 300, maybe 400 athletes in that. I think that's around the number I heard. I don't know much more than that. Shaker Jack. Today is not a day of episode of As the Lawsuits Turns just yet. I'm sure we'll have more information on that at some point in time in the near future. But yeah, it's just at the end of the day, it's like it. And then, like you look at Ole Miss for an example. Ole Miss fell off on baseball last year, right?
Yes.
But they're having success in basketball, having success in football.
Correct.
Having success in baseball would pull away from the resource. You know, you got to pick. I think it's just very difficult in the NIL era.
Yes.
Now, what will rev share do to that? Right? I think, in my opinion, I think rev share is going to end up hurting across the board now. Not just. I think rev share is going to hurt college baseball as a totality, as a total thing, right?
Why is that? Because
I think they're going to put the actual NIL collective part of the drill is going to be significantly diminished. Yeah, and I think the actual, when you look at football and basketball, are going to make up about 90% of rev share. And so you're just not going to have as much money that you've had in the past on some of these schools that, all right, who's spending money in baseball? LSU?
So can I interrupt for a minute?
Sure.
So not to go too far down this road. So Kylan Hill is opting out of rev share.
He was part of a group of about 400 that called opt out of the House settlement stuff that says we didn't agree to that. And so because
he's a former player.
He's a former player, right? Okay. So he's one that opted out and trying to say that they did not agree.
So that he's essentially saying, I'm not agreeing to this settlement.
Yes.
because I plan to sue for more.
I didn't agree to the number. There's a group of about.
So is this the 2016 settlement type deal?
Yes, this is the House.
All right, so I have a question. I have a question on that.
Yep. I'm not a lawyer, but
why does it start at 2016? Why does it not go back for years and years and years? I mean, they took advantage of not only myself, of Manziel, of Reggie Bush, of Matt. Like, there's so many fucking guys.
Didn't you have a number? And maybe I'm making this up. Didn't you? Because I remember you coming to my office one time complaining about this when I was at Alabama. Didn't you were talking about how much money the NCAA was making off of your jersey on their own.
I was top 3 jersey sales in the country my last 2 years.
Yeah, and they were selling.
You could go on the NCAA website, type my name in on the search bar, and the Alabama 10 jersey would pop up. And it was me, Manziel, and somebody my senior year, but I was in the top 3, 5 my junior year as well. Like, I don't understand. Like, why does it stop at 2016? Like, I saw that and I'm like, wait, what? Like, how the fuck are we not getting back pay?
I've long said this. I don't, and it might just, I'll freely admit, this might just be where I have a intellectual blind spot. I don't understand how this story, this house settlement thing, has gotten the amount of traction that it has moving forward. I don't understand it. It would be like literally us agreeing to some sort of a business deal, the 3 of us, for example, and AJ was never involved in the negotiations, and we go, you're getting this. He has 2 choices at that moment. Accept it, and there's no further litigation, or go, hell no, I didn't agree to that. At which point we kind of go back to the drawing board. This thing's destined for the drawing board.
Quick.
I mean, it just is. And so unless you say, like, if we did some deal and, hey, we're each going to get $600,000, and AJ goes, okay, cool. All right, well, at that point, he agreed, right? So some sort of, like, he gets his payment, he cashes the check, it's done. But if he goes, no, I didn't agree to that. I didn't negotiate that at all. We don't have an agreement anymore. That's where this thing's head is so stupid. I don't understand. I
didn't have it on a drawing board to talk about.
And maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't have a legal background. I mean, I took some journalism law. That's the extent of it. I don't know. Maybe I'm completely missing something very basic. But I don't know how you agree to terms on a settlement, which means we're putting this to bed. We're settling this. We're putting this away for perpetuity. We're putting it away. I don't know how you do that without that being negotiated.
Makes no sense. You're not wrong.
I'm just confused on why it stops at 2016. Like, that makes no sense to me.
I don't even know how they came up with a number.
I love the fact that your boy Grind made his little comment. So yeah, Grind needs to get off of being on all fours and under the Auburn Tiger mascot. I mean, he's over there talking trash. He's on all fours.
Which one? Which mascot? The tiger, the eagle, or the?
Yeah, pick on him. He's on all fours, just waiting at fucking at Toomer's corner. But
does he
y'all are terrible. No, but how did you agree to the terms on the year?
Yeah. Like, that's mind-boggling.
You agree to the terms on the money? Like, I don't blame the schools for going, hey, look, we're just going to start doing this because we got to. I get that. I get the schools going, we can't keep hitting up the fans for all this money because the fans are going to go, I can't do it. You're already seeing that, right? Yeah. You saw the pushback. You mentioned Ole Miss. You saw the pushback on the monetizing the Grove and people having to pay more for tailgating and blah, blah, blah. And at Tennessee, there's a talent fee on the tickets. In some places, they're jacking the parking up. Everything's coming up with money, and who are they hitting up so far? Fans. They're hitting up the fans. And at some point, the fans are going to go, I can't do it anymore. There's a limit. People have budgets. You can't just keep adding to your expenses unless you subtract from you can't keep adding to what you pay unless you subtract from what you spend. Bottom line. And we're there. And so I don't blame the schools for going, look, this court settlement thing that we're going to abide by for now says we've got to give them 20-something million
per year.
Let's figure it out. I don't blame them a bit, but I'm not going to be even remotely surprised when this thing it gets litigated and blown to smithereens, and everybody goes, "We didn't agree to this." What's up, Aka? We didn't agree to this. This was not the terms that I think it's going to be two things. It might be the guy like AJ who played years ago, and it definitely is going to be the 15-year-old kid right now who in 2 or 3 years ago, I didn't agree to that. I didn't agree to some limit on my compensation. I didn't agree to that. You guys are making it's
I'm just kind of
so stupid.
I'm just dumbfounded. Like, I understand the expansion and everything in 2014, but you said you weren't making money off our name, but you could go on your official NCAA website, type my name in, whoever's name you wanted, and their school jersey would pop up. Last time I checked, that's making money.
I think
off of somebody's name.
The 2016, I think Scott is right in the chat. To answer your question, AJ, I think it's because that's the year that the Ed O'Bannon lawsuit was settled. So there's the reason that they're putting it there.
Did you get anything in the Ed O'Bannon thing?
No, I don't even know what the hell that is.
You probably did. There's probably a $13 check out there for you somewhere.
He was in the band with Drake and Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah. He's doing the halftime show next year. All right. You want to stick around for basketball? Or you want to dip?
Yeah, I'm gonna get out.
All right, no, I appreciate the help.
Y'all call me when fucking March Madness shows up. Other than that,
it'll be here.
I got too much.
It'll be here in about 20 days. We'll see you in 20 days on basketball.
Is it that soon?
Well, March is in 20 days.
Yeah, when's the tournament start?
Usually the middle of March. March 18th, 20th.
Yeah, so still a full month.
Yeah, about a month. All right, dog. Appreciate the hell out of you.
Yep.
Hey, go get that halftime show ready to go next year.
Yeah. I got to go get Grinds out of Toomer's Corner first.
All right. See you, dog. That dude ain't right. Hey, Scoops.
Yep.
Can I tell you something?
Why not?
Did you know that big savings are happening now at Kia of Meridian? You can get $10,000 in rebates and 0% financing on select vehicles. Plus, for a limited time, they are matching your down payment up to $2,500. That means more car for your money all month long. Don't wait. These deals won't last long. Visit Kia of Meridian today. Kia of Meridian, where great deals drive home with you. Give them a call. Give Trav and the guys a call. It's 601-483-6444. And guess what, Scoops?
I don't know.
Do you know what happens if you go see my guy Trav and you get a brand new car?
I do.
You know what you get to do?
Spin the wheel!
Spin the wheel! And win awesome prizes like a PS5, an Xbox, a TV, and more. So give our good friends at Kia of Meridian a call. Scoops are also brought to you by County Line Campers, the official RV dealer of the McCready and Siskey Show. It's a new year, and now it's time for a new RV. Check out the selection of new and pre-loved motorhomes, fifth wheels, and travel trailers at the County Line Campers right there in Gulfport, Mississippi, off I-10, exit 38. You can save up to 48% on remaining new 2024 models, including new RVs for under $199 a month. Do you need your camper serviced? It's that time of the year. Get your camper serviced. Ask us about our Happy Camper Club to receive discounts on all your maintenance needs. Visit countylinecampers.com to see all of our deals, and for a limited time, receive free backup camera with any RV purchased. Open 7 days a week. When you think about camping, think about County Line Campers.
Yeah, Dan Orlovsky on ESPN today, signing off from his final appearance on First Take. Says, I'm taking a break. Won't be on TV for a long time. Never know what the future holds, but I'm taking a break. Just want to say thank you. Appreciate you guys so much.
Wow.
How about that? How about that?
What was that all about?
I don't know.
I didn't see that coming. Did something happen?
I don't know.
He's actually really good.
Yeah, Orlovsky's nice. I've talked to him before on the phone. Nice, really nice guy.
Yeah, he's legit.
I don't know. I don't know any more details.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yep.
All right, Scoops. Let's go a little. We're gonna do a little SEC hoops here, national hoops. Little weekend review here. From the weekend, the Florida Gators. Grind actually called this one. Surprised me. The Florida Gators 90, Auburn 81. Complete domination by Florida on Saturday. Did you get a chance to see much of this one?
I saw parts of it, and then I had to go to a wedding.
Yeah. Florida just dominated the game. The thing that's concerning, like,
my congratulations, by the way, to Aunt Fava and Nick on their wedding, their marriage now. Good luck to them. Wish them the very best. Known Aunt Fava since we moved here 17 years ago when she was, gosh, she couldn't have been like 7, 8 years old. She was beautiful on Saturday night. Congratulations to the couple.
Wow.
Yep.
Florida just completely dominated the game. Auburn was down 20-something at one point in time. They scratched back. They closed it to lose by 9, 90-81. They made a run late. But the thing that was probably concerning more than, like, if you're looking at like a championship team, is the first time that Auburn really got punched in the face. Like, just fought really. I mean, they've had games where they battle back and forth, but the first time they've been down like that this year, and their body language sucked.
Yep.
Like, they had guys, like, they missed a shot or something. They had guys loafing back down on defense and were giving up easy transition baskets. But their body language, that was, I think they'll be okay.
I think they're fine. I kind of wonder if they're a little distracted. I said this in my 10 thoughts at rivals.com. I kind of wonder if they were a little distracted by all of the attention that the camping people got. All the kids camping for 4 days, and they were out feeding them all the time. And like Janai Broom was out playing poker with some people, and it was like, hey, let's build the fan base stuff. And it's a credit to them, but I couldn't help but wonder if they weren't a little distracted.
Yeah, I think they'll be more than fine. But like, damn, like they just, the body language, they didn't look like when they got down and they'd make a run and they'd miss whatever, somebody hit a three or something. The body language, like, it just looked something off. You know what I mean?
Let's point this out now about Florida.
Well, they're fucking good.
When
now.
Florida's full strength, I'm not sure there's a more balanced roster in the country. I didn't say best. I said balanced. They've got bigs who are skilled, right?
No, they're good.
They've got guys who can go bang the boards with Auburn's bigs. They can also pull them out because they can make shots. They've got really good guard play when they're healthy. Golden and Pearl work together. Golden knows Pearl's system really well.
Where do they work together?
We're with them at Auburn.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so there's a lot there from a matchup standpoint that is disadvantageous for Auburn. So this was probably, given the week that Auburn's got ahead, got to go to Vanderbilt. Isn't that where they go? Got to go to Vanderbilt. Then they get Bama on Saturday. Given it might, all in all, they're still a 1 seed. They're still in great shape. This might end up being a good thing. Sometimes I know it's never good to lose. I get there's no such thing as a good loss. I get that. But sometimes there is some attention that you can get from a loss.
Yeah, I mean, it's you can use it as a positive in the right stage, but they just, I don't know, the body language bothered the shit out of them.
Well, when you haven't played a lot of super close games and you haven't been punched in the face, when you get punched in the face, sometimes it's like, whoa, what was that? And probably a good thing.
Well, they played Ole Miss 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, but Ole Miss never took the lead, right?
But they were in it, runs, and it was a competitive game. And Auburn played well.
But there's a difference between, hey, these pesky guys are staying with us. But if you watched that game, what you knew with Auburn that day in Oxford is Auburn could still go get theirs when they needed it, right? Yeah. You could feed Broom on the post, not on the post, at the top of the key, at the free throw line, at the nail. He'd turn. He'd be able to make a pass because Ole Miss had no size guys. Ole Miss has no big, consistent skill guys. Florida does. And so Florida took some of that away, and suddenly you're not getting the open shot. Florida's long. They can close out. I mean, there's a lot there. It was interesting. the bit that I saw because, you know, I mean, I wasn't stunned that Florida was able to build a big lead. And once that's just the word I would use is balanced. That is a very balanced roster.
Yep. Alabama wins 85-81 on the road at Arkansas. Had a big lead. Arkansas came back. I think they went on a 12 or 13-0 run right there towards the end. They cut it. They end up winning. Alabama wins 85-81. That play started rocking. Alabama answered the bell a little bit late, but they had, I don't know what they were up huge. And Arkansas came back in the second half. Crowd got into it. They got hot, but Alabama, Sears kind of, they went on a run. They cut it to 4 or 5 late, and then Sears took them onto the hole. And after that, it was a free throw shot, free throw contest. But I thought, look, Arkansas it's what you kind of figured, but
Arkansas allowed.
They came out of nowhere because they were getting blown out.
Well, Arkansas had a really bad start to the second half where they just couldn't make shots and they let offense bleed into defense. And Bama's really, really good. It's the part about Alabama that they don't get enough credit for. That is a really talented, balanced team. Again, balance. Sears can get you. Nelson can get you. Nelson can get you the quietest 20 damn points in the course of a game. You'll look up at his line. He's got 20 and 8. And you're like, son of a bitch, I didn't see. But he's impactful in games. And then they have wings who are athletic, and they've got guys who can get out in the open court. Give Arkansas a ton of credit, though. Down, what were they down? 17, 18 points?
Huge.
I mean, they cut
early.
They cut that thing to a single possession twice.
Yeah.
And Arkansas, I mean, Alabama, to its credit now, and I said this morning, it's true. A less mature, less composed team.
Yeah, experience showed.
In those last minute and a half when Arkansas was in it and that crowd was rocking, would have panicked a little bit, and they did not panic. I will say this. I think, and I might be proven wrong this week, but I think Arkansas is about to start making some noise. They've figured some things out. They're scoring in a multitude of ways now. They're defending better in general. I won't be surprised if they kind of go on a little.
Well, they're supposed to get LSU at home.
So. Yeah, I think they'll get LSU at home, and then who do they have Wednesday? They have Saturday at A&M. At A&M feels like a really big game for them.
All right, Tennessee went to Oklahoma and handled business and played like they shot well. And when they shoot well, you're not winning the game.
No, when they shoot well, they're a Final Four team.
Yeah, when they shoot well, you're not winning.
Yeah,
I mean,
and Oklahoma didn't.
Oklahoma's okay.
You want to talk about body language? Their body language was bad.
Yeah, Oklahoma is okay. And if they were in a different conference, we'd be having a whole different conversation about them. They just, they have a lot of Robins, not a many Batmans. But Tennessee shot well, and that game was over before it got started.
Well, the Fears kid is going to be a really good player for Oklahoma, but right now everyone's focusing on him, and they're making his life miserable.
Texas A&M, in probably the best game of the day, Texas A&M beats Missouri.
A great game.
67-64. What a phenomenal game.
Great game.
Phenomenal game.
Either team could have won. It was awesome. It was just a great game. Two teams
very even.
Two teams that look like Sweet 16 caliber teams.
Yeah. And that was just a walk off three.
Wade Taylor the fourth can play for me anytime. Wade, if you're watching, in the event that I ever coach a team and you'd like to come play for me, I will see what NIL I can get for you, but you have a spot, my friend. I love watching that kid play.
Yeah, and he's
nails.
He tickled nothing but the nylon. Didn't even like slow itself down, even getting close to the rim. He couldn't have been that ball couldn't have been placed any more center of the rim than it was to walk it off.
He's a stud.
Kentucky dominates South Carolina from the jump. They beat South Carolina 80-57. Nothing to see there, but it was a get right spot for Kentucky, and they're going to need it because they got Tennessee at home tomorrow. Mississippi State, Georgia. Mississippi State wins 76-75, a game that went back and forth. Mississippi State would get up 5 or 6. Georgia would close, get up 4 or 5. I mean, it was a back and forth game. Dude, Mississippi State missed free throws. Georgia gets the ball with a chance to win the game. A man starts driving to the hole with like 3 seconds to go and just dribbled it right off his knee. Right off his knee.
Yep.
So Georgia had a chance to win and then turned the ball over, driving to the hole. And if you're an Ole Miss fan, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. We have a lot of Ole Miss fans that listen, obviously. Ole Miss 72, LSU 70, and one of the craziest endings to a game.
An escape.
I'm talking about, you take that win right there, and it kind of everything's all again 50-50 balls bounce the other way.
Sure.
Ole Miss, was it a 13-0 run or 13-2 run, something like that?
13-0 run. They were down 11 with like 3.5 to go.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact number.
I mean,
they were.
It couldn't have felt any more perfect, man.
They played really well defensively down the stretch. They made their free throws. Got a big 3 out of Brakefield.
And I think he played the whole last 10 minutes with 4 fouls.
Got a big stop, drew an offensive foul, came back, had a really good play drawn up, executed it. And then the irony of ironies is if you said, hey, how's Ole Miss going to win this game late? I would have said, well, someone's going to make a shot. I would have probably not guessed, they'll get an offensive rebound. That's kind of not who they are, but they did. They had a couple of guys crash the glass. Credit to the officials.
Yeah.
Right away, they're like, hey, let's go review. Let's get this right.
Oh, they're going to review everything inside 2 minutes.
But but initially the call was offensive interference.
Yeah, it was clearly off the rim.
And when they looked at it, it was clearly off the rim. 1/10 of a second left, and they got it right. And those are the kind of games, if you're going to with a roster like theirs, which is not an elite roster, if you're going to make a tournament run, those are the kind of games you win. And they did it, right? Because typically that's a game they lose when they were barely breaking even on the boards. They weren't creating a lot of turnovers. LSU was playing pretty well. LSU was winning second chance points in the paint, stuff like that. All the like little intangibles were pointing LSU's way, and you find a way to win a game that you only led. I think Ole Miss led 4 minutes and 41 seconds. I'm right, within 10 seconds somewhere. I mean, they did not lead much at all.
Yeah.
LSU led that whole game almost wire to wire, and you pull it off. That's what teams that end up doing things in the postseason find a way to do.
Yep. Vandy 86, Texas 78. Told you that'd be an interesting game. Vandy's good at home. I think be interesting. I think Auburn responds. The worst thing that happened to Vandy was Florida beat Auburn. If Auburn had boat raced Florida on Saturday, and then you had Alabama coming up, it's been a sneaky spot. I think their focus goes. But Vandy plays well at home. And they won a game they had to win.
Yeah.
They needed to win that one.
100%.
And then from a national standpoint, the Clemson Tigers, America's team. I don't know if they're America's team in basketball, but in football they are. They beat Duke 77-71 on a national scale. That saw Saturday with number 1 Auburn and number 2 Duke lose, and then Auburn stays put in the polls and Duke drops 2. I don't get that one, but Duke's still really good. All right, midweek preview, what we got coming up this week. Like we just talked about, Auburn's at Vandy. Like I said, the worst thing that happened for Vanderbilt was Auburn lost. I think Auburn will be refocused, ready to go tomorrow in Nashville. Also tomorrow, Tennessee is at Kentucky. That'll be probably there's a couple of good games tomorrow. There's 4 SEC games tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a
actually
good one.
five SEC games tomorrow.
That's a good one.
Tennessee at Kentucky.
Yeah,
feels like a really, really big spot for Kentucky here.
Yeah,
I think they're safe regardless.
Yeah, at the risk of being redundant, it does. Yet at the same time, I mean, I keep doing this. Like I did it yesterday for fun, just looking at my computer for a few minutes on Sunday morning. I don't. If the SEC's not getting 12, 13, I don't know who the hell's getting these bids, because there aren't a lot of multi-bid leagues out there.
Yeah, no, I've seen.
I mean, you're going to have March chaos in the mid majors for some of these teams that we're talking about. Not you, in general. Like someone the other day when Missouri lost, they're like, now Missouri's on the bubble. I mean, what in the hell are we talking about? No, they're not. I mean, if net matters, and this is kind of starting to bug me a little because it's national media people. They're like, well, in the future, net's not going to mean as much. All right, great, but you're not changing the damn rules in February. The coaches were told, hey, net really matters. Schedule really matters. The SEC, all of them, everybody, all 16, hell, even LSU and Carolina went and scheduled. And most everybody got wins. South Carolina beat Clemson. Most everybody got wins in the SEC. And now you've got this, everybody's got this elevated net, like, you got Oklahoma, Arkansas, Vanderbilt, Georgia that are all. I mean, I think Georgia's in the 30s. The previous 3 are in the top half of the 40s in net. And you're going to get a bunch of SEC teams that are going to finish somewhere between 25 and 45 in the net. And that typically is a number that gets you in the tournament. And so if they don't get in the tournament, it's going to be one of two things. One, you either have chaos in the mid-majors, at which point, like the Horizon League or something becomes somehow of a two-bid league. Or it's going to be because the committee bows to some of this pressure that's starting to get exhibited by some of the national people about the SEC's overrated, the SEC's this. It's not about that. That's the part that drives me crazy. The whole overrated thing, first of all, that's subjective. What the hell does that even mean?
Yeah.
Secondly, these were the metrics that they were told this is what matters when they made the schedule.
And the other thing is,
and
when
so
they
you
play
don't get to change it midstream.
And when they play each other, okay, let's say Kentucky loses tomorrow. Freaking Tennessee's what, a 3-net, 4-net?
Somewhere in there.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to hurt Kentucky if they lose.
I mean, the top 6 of net has...
And they just beat them at Tennessee last week.
It has Auburn, Alabama 6, I think. It's got Auburn, Tennessee, Florida. I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah. It's ridiculous. I mean, Kentucky's net is in the...
It's like 19.
It's in the teens.
Yes. But what I was saying is why it's a big opportunity is, like, if they beat Tennessee again, they just beat them on the road. That's going to bump them up seeding wise. All right. A game I'm interested in, Florida at Mississippi State.
Oh, for sure. Huge opportunity for State.
We're going to stop saying game.
Yeah.
Opportunity. Big opportunity for State there at home against Florida. Florida's second road game in a row, those kind of things. So big opportunity.
Because as of this recording on Monday afternoon, SEC nets.
Okay.
Auburn's 1, Tennessee's 4, Florida's 5, Alabama's 6, A&M's 13, Kentucky's 17, Ole Miss is 22, Missouri's 23, Mississippi State's 29. So you got to figure from a net standpoint, those are like stone cold locks. And then after that, Texas is 31. History would say a 31 net team's making the field. Georgia's 34. And then you got Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Oklahoma in a row, 42, 43, 44. LSU's 80, Carolina's 90.
Yeah.
So, I mean, from a numbers standpoint, you're getting 13 or 14 bids from a numbers standpoint. As of today. But the point is, look at those nets. Everybody's playing each other. Unless you go lose a home game to Carolina or LSU, your net's not going to fall much no matter what. Like is it Mississippi State? Florida.
Mississippi State's 29. They're playing Florida 5.
So let's say Florida loses at Mississippi State. What are they going to do? Fall from 5 to 6?
And then, but what's going to happen is Mississippi State's going to jump.
They jump like 3 spots. They jump from like 29 to 26.
Or Georgia going to A&M.
But if Mississippi State loses to the 5 net, they're only going to fall a spot or 2.
Right.
So
there's more gain opportunity than lose opportunity.
You told the league to schedule. They did. They won in the preseason. They won all this. Why I told people all along, I'm like, hey, I know it's a fan instinct to hope that your team, your SEC team wins and the other ones have bus crashes and everybody loses. You don't want that.
No.
Like, remember back in the Andy Kennedy days? There were times that Andy and them, they couldn't get in the field because A, their non-con wasn't great, but B, the conference didn't have a lot of good back then. They used RPI. And so you had these RPI bombs on your schedule because, you were playing a team that was 117, a team that was 191, and still conference stuff, and everybody all dialed in, and it was hard to travel and all that stuff. And you lose some games, and now you had these massive warts on your resume.
Yeah, there's very few.
So we need to start talking about here soon. I can't believe I'm the guy that's turning into the great shill for the SEC, but I'm a little pissed off at some of the national people because you're trying to change the rules. Like, look at Vanderbilt, look at Georgia, look at Oklahoma, look at Arkansas. Show me the bombs on their resume. Show me the absolute warts. There aren't many.
Yeah, no.
So, you know what I mean? Losing by 4 at home to Bama or losing at home to Tennessee, frankly, shouldn't really cost much against you because I can do this with, like, ACC schools. Tennessee would come to those places and beat the living shit out of all of them. Okay? So would Florida. And here's the truth. I won't go about Oklahoma because I'm not sure I'm sold. But, like, Georgia, Texas, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, I think if you put that quintet in the ACC, they'd all finish somewhere between 2nd and 7th.
Yeah, I'm the next game, which is a team I'm not, which is crazy. Somebody's going to have to explain this to me. So Alabama is going tomorrow is playing at Texas. Okay,
It's a big opportunity for Texas.
Ken Palm's got this like a 2-point game.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't see that. Texas to me, was it 20? What's 20's name for Texas?
Trey Johnson.
He's legit.
Yeah, he's a stud.
But everybody else
Needs to hit his free throws a little better. But I can see why the NBA guys like him so much.
But Alabama's, Ken Palm's got that game hella close tomorrow. Georgia is at Texas A&M. Big opportunity for Georgia.
Yeah, but look, Georgia,
Texas A&M's playing well right now.
Georgia, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, Arkansas, those teams.
They need to try to steal one.
Those teams everything can't be an opportunity. They're gonna have to take advantage of some opportunities.
They need to steal one. They could have stole one Saturday on that last possession. They were in that one.
Yep.
All right, caution flags. Ole Miss at South Carolina. South Carolina's over. South Carolina has up to this point played really well at home.
They have. Yeah.
Okay, like Florida, they had Florida's ass beat. Florida comes back, was down 10 late and came back and beat them by 1. Auburn was tough.
Ole Miss is going to struggle with Murray Barnes or whatever his name is, Colin, and then they're going to struggle with Pringle down low. Ole Miss's lack of post play makes games like this a little scary.
Second straight game on the road. South Carolina's coming.
Got Mississippi State coming up.
Yeah,
we got to be
caution flags.
Yeah, there's some yellow flags around that game for sure.
Caution flags, and don't need to. That was one. That's one of the few in the SEC that you don't need to lose. All right, Oklahoma at Missouri. I think Missouri handles business here.
I do too.
LSU at Arkansas. I think Arkansas handles business here. I think it's a good spot for Arkansas.
This is a must-win for Arkansas.
Must-win for Arkansas.
Absolutely.
If you would talk about must-wins, that's probably the only one of the midweek games, I'd say. Georgia probably needs to try to steal one. But, I wouldn't call it a must-win just yet.
Of the teams that have games, that's the must. The one must-win is Arkansas at home against LSU, and if they get it, then they get back into big-time opportunity on Saturday at Texas A&M.
And the only other top 25 matchup we have in college basketball during the middle of the week is Purdue at Michigan. I think that's tomorrow night. Purdue's at Michigan.
Okay.
Purdue, I can't make. Purdue is like, what's their net? Are they 7 net, somewhere in there?
Hold on, I'll tell you. Purdue is 8.
8 net.
The net. So in the Big Ten, the teams that are locks, right?
They got several.
They got
like 8.
So Purdue's 8, Illinois 12, Wisconsin's 15, Maryland 16.
Maryland, watch out for the Terps.
Michigan 18, Michigan State 19, UCLA 25, Ohio State 27. So those are locks. And then their bubble teams are probably Ohio State. No, they're in. Oregon at 35. I think they'll get in.
So Oregon's the team that.
Just real quick, Nebraska's 49, Northwestern's 56, Indiana's 61. See, this is the same deal. This is why
you got the net rankings pulled up.
Yeah,
look at their quad ones. Once you get to Indiana,
rest of Big Ten. Penn State 65, Iowa 67, Rutgers 69, SC 71. Washington 92, Minnesota 99. See, they don't have anybody outside of the top 100. It's the same thing with the SEC. You told these teams to schedule, and by God, they did.
Yeah.
And so now their nets help each other. And everybody goes, well, that's a flaw in the system. Fine. Fix it after the year.
You can't
in the middle of the year go, hey, we're going to change what's pass interference.
It's like look at North Carolina. What do you got them in net at? 30-something?
So ACC nets, Duke is 2, Louisville's 28, Clemson's 30, SMU's 40, North Carolina's 46.
46.
Pitt's 47, and then everybody else is 59.
All right, look at North Carolina. Look at North Carolina quad ones. Is it 1-9? Did I see that right today?
Hold on. I don't know why it's not showing.
It's usually right next to it.
It for whatever reason, they haven't updated everything.
I think they were 1-9 in quad ones.
Yeah, it just has record road neutral right now. It doesn't even have any of the quads. I don't know. I don't know whether there's something wrong with the site or what.
I thought I saw that today. They're playing Clemson tonight, so on the road.
Let me see if I can pull them up real quick.
I think they were 1-9.
Where'd we have them?
40 something.
46. Yeah, it doesn't have it here.
Gotcha. I did Criteria Club today. We got a little. I'll do it on here since we'll be doing them every day, and it's people that are listening. Had a nice little easy Criteria Club today. It's Campbell, Florida Atlantic, Houston, and Clemson. It only gets you at plus 111. There's not as many games today. Tomorrow will be packed. Tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday will be packed. And then obviously Saturday. But
all right. So North Carolina is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1-9 in quad 1.
Yeah.
They are 5-0 in quad 2, 3-1 in quad 3, 5-0 in quad 4.
So if you're in the 40s,
upcoming, they only have right now. They have 2 more quad 1 games at Clemson and home against
tonight.
Duke.
So they're probably going to lose both of those. So if they're 1-11 in quad 1 and they're in the 40s, how do they get in?
See, that's my thing. So pick. We've gone too long, but pick an SEC team. Pick one of the Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Oklahoma.
Let's go Arkansas.
All right.
Let's go Vanderbilt. I'm interested.
I just pulled up Arkansas.
Sorry.
So Arkansas is 3-7 in quad 1, 1-2 in quad 2. The 2 losses that are killing Arkansas, it's real simple to pick their deal apart. They lost at LSU by 4, and they lost at home by 3 to Oklahoma. You change those 2 games for them, they would be 16-7. They would be 5-6 in the league, and they would be a lock. Their net would be somewhere in the 30s. They'd be in. That's what's killing them. You wanted Vanderbilt?
Yeah.
Vanderbilt is 2-5 quad 1, 4-1 quad 2, 3-0 quad 3, 8-0 quad 4. Vanderbilt has a neutral site loss to Drake. That hurts them a little bit. Quad 2. And then their quad 1 losses are home to Mississippi State, at Missouri, at Alabama, at Oklahoma, at Florida. They have wins over Kentucky and Tennessee at home.
Yeah.
Their quad 2 wins are neutral against Nevada, neutral against TCU, at LSU, home against Texas.
Yeah.
So
that's wild.
It'll be interesting. It always is. And then Oklahoma's resume, in case you're wondering, and I am for some reason. Oklahoma's 4-6 in quad 1. They've got 4 quad 1s. They're 3-1 in quad 2. Lost at home to Texas. That was a quad 2 loss. 2-0 in quad 3, 7-0 in quad 4. What you notice with SEC teams is they don't have any bombs. Nobody has bombs on the resume.
No. All right, Scoops. In case you're looking for a way to get in the tournament, you know what you need to do? You need to go to PTG Outdoors and discover Garmin at PTG Outdoors. From cycling to running watches to tax indoor cycling to finding your way into March Madness, you can track health metrics, explore maps, and enjoy GPS precision for cycling, golf, and outdoor adventures. Dive deeper with swim tracking, train smarter with dog tracking tools, and monitor performance on land and water. Explore Garmin's range, including smartwatches, scales, and advanced off-road instruments. Available now at ptgoutdoors.com. Scoops, Kia Meridian. You got big savings happening right now. You can get $10,000 in rebates and 0% financing on select vehicles. Plus, for a limited time, we're matching your down payment up to $2,500. That means more car for your money all month long. Don't wait. These deals won't last long. Visit Kia Meridian today. Kia Meridian, where great deals drive home with you. And don't forget, when you get a car from Kia Meridian, Trav is going to pull out the wheel and let you spin the wheel and win awesome prizes like a PS5, Xbox, a TV, and more. So visit our friends at Kia of Meridian today.
We'll talk to you guys on Thursday when we'll be once again brought to you by our friends at Rain Total Body Fuel. 300 milligrams natural caffeine, BCAAs, electrolytes, zero sugar. It's got what you need to push the limits and achieve your goals. So check them out on Instagram at Rain Body Fuel to learn more. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Thanks to AJ McCarron. For Tyler, I'm Neal. Until Thursday, take care.